we're going to go on to our topic today.
Okay.
And it was actually something you talked about and something someone else talked about
Mm-hmm.
as far as like faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is my question. Like, what's the time in your life to where you kept trying at something and it didn't work?
I kept trying at something that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Trust me, go ahead. I was going to add something else on there, but it's fine. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And it didn't.
You can only imagine what it's like when it's time to pick something to eat.
So you're just gonna throw me under the bus. Okay.
Oh,
You said-
you know how you be getting when it's time to get something to eat. You ask me what I want, and then I give you a suggestion. You like, I don't want that. And I say pick something, and you like, I don't know. So what was the?
I always look to answer this question.
I'm just saying, don't be acting. Okay, go ahead. You right. Go ahead. My fault. My fault. Go ahead.
I need you to read. I need you to.
All right. So the question is, what's something that you've tried at multiple times and it just what was a plan of yours that you tried at and it just didn't work?
I would say a past relationship. Are you referring to
It can mean anything.
just anything?
Yeah,
or-
it can mean anything.
Oh, I would say when a previous relationship I was in, I kept trying, and it seemed like it would get better, and then it would just like blow up, and then it would get better, and then it would just like blow up, and then I really had to like really pray about that situation because I was like, I don't want to keep going back and forth with someone. I want to be able to build something with someone, and if that person is not looking at it the way that I look at it, and their relationship with God was not the same, their lifestyle was not the same as mine, and nothing, it seemed like every time I tried it, it failed. And so I really just had to pray about that situation. I had to ask God what to do about that situation and basically let that person go. And even though it hurt so bad, it allowed so many, after I let that relationship go and just kind of prayed for healing of my heart and everything, it was like so many things fell into place after I let that thing go.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You really answered that question. You must have read my notes.
I
But no, all right. So we talk about faith and how important it is, and how I said, well, you know now, and how important it is in our life. Because you said earlier about the power of faith, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I look at it like the simplicity of faith is in its power, or the power is in the simplicity in a sense. Because you do the thing that you don't know exists, right? And you have confidence in it, right?
Right.
But then, but it's funny because we have those situations in our life to where we do the thing we see exists and it doesn't work.
Right, and that's what happened with my situation because it was like God was like, end it. And I was like, no. And I kept trying to make it work because I was like, oh, this person's going to be my husband. We're going to get married and all this stuff. And then I was like, and in my mind, it was like I knew it wasn't going to work. And I really just had to let it go. And I had to let it go. I had to change my phone number. I had to delete any contact that I've had with him, like whether it was email, text messages, whatever it was. I had to basically delete that person out of my life completely. And that's exactly what I did. I deleted that person out of my life completely and changed my phone number because I didn't want that person calling me. And I knew that if I did that and if I really listened and followed what God told me to do, then my life would show through that decision. And things would start happening for me through that decision. And that's what I did. And I remember one time, after I did all this, mind you, I was at church, and it was women's, what was it called? The women's conference. And the pastor that came from New Jersey, after I had did all this, told me to come to the front. And she said, say, I'm back. And I didn't know what she was talking about. I'm like, why I did it. And she told me to come to the front and say, I'm back. And she made me stand up there the whole time. And that was like, I guess that was God letting me know I made the right decision.
So what did you see after that?
like so many great things just started happening. I started, I think I got a promotion at my job. I ended up, just after I did that, the time after that, I spent basically just myself. I didn't date. I didn't try to go on dates. I didn't do anything. I spent those years just focusing on my college degree, on my my writing skills, just focusing on me. And I live by myself, so it was just me and God.
That's dope. And it's interesting because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night, and he was saying how he was in that kind of same position of where, you know, you hit this wall, you have these plans of yours that you want, and so you go at them and you just keep hitting these walls, and you're like, man, why is this just not working? And he was actually saying how he ended up praying about it, and, you know, God was like, well, that's because, you know, it's you know, you're working your plan situation. Right. And he was saying, you know, it really kind of, he said God punched him in the stomach with it. It
did. It's like, it was definitely like that because after, it was like, I think this was the same week that happened. And then we had that conference that Thursday and Friday night. And I think she came that Friday. And I was sitting.
Why you say that? You just made me think of something. There's a verse. I said why you do that?
But I was just saying that when she called me up to the front,
I know it though. Go ahead.
When she called me up, I forgot her name though. I remember her name. She called me up to the front. I don't know this lady. She don't know me, and she was like, "I need you to do something for me." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Just say I'm back." And I was like, "I'm back." She was like, "No, I need you to scream it." And I was like, "I'm back." And she was like, "No, you need to." And she held my hand and would not let me move. And I'm sure if any of my people from church are watching, they probably remember that time because I had talked to a few of them about the situation. And she called me up there and she made me stand up there, I think, until she finished her message. And after she finished, she made me scream it again.
Okay, see? So this takes me to what I was trying. There's a verse actually that says, God, he said the road of the righteous is a highway, and it was so interesting It's so interesting for me because, you know, your whole life you hear the road of destruction is wide, right, and the road of righteousness is narrow. But it was when I saw that verse, that was the first time that I ever pictured doing righteous from God's eyes, and living and doing the plan that he has as this vast thing, and you can move at a high pace on that road, right, and because at the time, like when we want to do something bad, it's something like we just want to do, like it's just something like
it seems like something always happens to where you can't do it.
That or it happens and then something just like probably backfires down the road.
Right. Or either you do it and God said because you didn't, I'm going to block what I was going to do for you a year. So now
people don't realize that jump happens. He'll do that jump. He'll do that jump for real. And so that's what I'm saying.
He blocks it for like a year. Depending on it's God's decision. But from situations that I've encountered, God has definitely said, okay, you want to do, okay, all right. I'm going to block this from you so you can't get it. And then I'd be like, why won't this happen? And then like a year later, I'm like, okay, maybe if I try it now, because I haven't did what I did for God to block the blessings. And then it'll actually happen. So I'm like, okay, Jesus really.
See, and that's what I'm saying. When you talk about the power of faith, like how strong it is to where if you believe, if you do the thing that you haven't seen. Right. Like, for example, I heard this guy say something that was really interesting, and I had to really think about it for a moment. But he says you shouldn't have role models. He was explaining because for a person in his position, he had never seen, and which reminds me, we did not do, but he had never seen a black physicist before. So he said, so how can I have a role model if I've never seen it before?
Right.
And it's interesting because the Bible says faith is the evidence of things hoped for. So you hope to be something that you haven't seen. You know, but I did low-key burp just now. And then you're placed in a situation to where when you start doing the thing that's never been, that you can't see or you have never seen, it worked. Like, it's a bad relationship, right? You hear of a good relationship, but you haven't. There's a difference between seeing a good relationship and experiencing and seeing a good relationship. So in that situation, you was experiencing a somewhat good relationship, right?
Right, but it was toxic.
Right? So then when you leave it, it's like, okay, then you can prepare yourself to get ready for me.
Well, that's exactly what happened, because, I mean...
Got the link in the gun. He got the job.
I mean, that's what...
but truthfully though, like you said, you prepared yourself,
and that's what I tell people that always ask me, well, how did I do that? Because it was 3 years not dating anyone. Like, I was, having fun over my friends or whatever, but I wasn't dating anyone. Like, it was just me. I lived by myself. I would go to work, come home, do what I had to do, and focus on me. I had my time with Jesus, and I would converse with people that I knew were for me and not against me, and I wouldn't have conversations about things that didn't have meaning, because when you have conversations with people and their conversations don't have meaning, or they're just talking about other people or whatever, I had to exclude myself from all of that. I did not want to be included in any of it. And I didn't want any of that to get into my ear to where I said, oh, well, maybe I should do this. Oh, maybe I should do that. Because I even told you about it when we started dating, that people kept putting stuff in my ear. You should do this, girl. You should do that. You should do this. And I was like, no, like, you don't know what God has planned for me. And at that point, I didn't know what God had planned for me. I just knew I was going to continue doing what he told me to do until I got to that point where he gave me exactly what he was trying to bring me up and strengthen me for. See,
and look, and this is something I say, man. It's like, I said this on the show before too. If you don't view the plan or will of God as cool, you won't do it. And it is literally the most fun I've ever had in my life. Mm-hmm. It is one of the greatest. It is the greatest decision I've ever made, because it has opened up my life. So
open up life, open up doors.
Well, that's why I said life, because that's gonna encompass everything. So it's like, it's like that high. I being able to drive that highway, it's really cool. And so to be able to do something that I haven't seen, that's faith. As I'm saying, it's like the evidence of things hoped for. I hope to do A, B, and C, and so I'm doing A, B, and C. You hope to be married, so you started spending time alone, understanding, getting yourself together.
I even prayed for my husband without knowing who that husband was going to be.
See, look, come on, you're not making this easy for me. You're not making it easy for me.
I mean, I did.
But
because I know how I am, so that person had to be strong enough to deal with me.
So it's just really cool to be able to actually see that. Like I said, even in my friend's life, when he was telling me about it, that he felt like he kept hitting that wall. He was like, I'm doing this, or I don't have the energy to do that, or maybe I want to do that. And he just said he kept hitting his wall and hitting his wall and hitting his wall. And then he was like, it just concluded in him that, okay, this isn't the plan.
Right.
This isn't the plan. And to be able to have God come back and talk to him like, okay, you're really trying to work your plan. Like, because like I said, I'm 27. So how can I, out of nowhere, come up with this plan for my own life? Right? That doesn't make sense. How can I do that? You may have this idea, and I said something. It's about, and it's funny because God. They say God gave you the snippets, right? And then we go gung ho on the snippets, trying to make the snippets real.
Right.
But then we still don't know everything as far as to getting to those snippets. So we can, even while we get the snippets and work towards the snippets, we can still be wrong in doing that. Because you can't, if you get a snippet or an idea of your life and you try to work toward it, you can't, because you weren't given, it's not your idea. So you don't even know what to do to even get to that point. I just thought that was interesting, So just think about it. What's something in your life that people have felt like that. People feel like that. I felt like that.
Okay.
You felt like that. Like you hit this wall, like, man, like things just aren't working exactly how I want them to. It's just not all job tripping, girl tripping, all this stuff, right? You're just hitting this wall. Maybe it's just not the plan.
Right. And that's exactly.
And that's a matter of fact.
That was a very tough decision.
Tony, and you know what? Tony says that. He says that one of the things that he asks, which is a hard question, he said, God, is this in the plan? That is a hard question.
That's a hard question.
That is a hard question.
When you make it plain and you ask God exactly, you ask God that question, then He's going to give you the answer. And the answer may not always be flowers and butterflies. It's going to be something.
You gotta leave that. You gotta stop talking to them. You need to go to this. You need to start reading more. And then you definitely don't want to start reading more because it's going to cut into your basketball time. And you're going to be tired at night. And you still got to sacrifice that. So it's going to be like a hard decision. And
it's a tough decision.
But it's always worth it. Because you do things that never are done.
Look, I got you.
This is true, right? This is true. You did something that's never been done. You know, I do things that's never been done. There's so many other people that do things that's never been done or seen, you know, because we open ourselves up to that highway. So I think that's just pretty dope. Yeah. But listen, anyway, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that story, by the way. And as always, thank you all for tuning in to the show. Mr. Crockett.
Thank you.
Hello, man. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the shares and the comments and the likes and the shares. We appreciate you guys. We love you. And we will be back next time here at the Joshua Bernie Morning Show. So I will be out of town, but we will be doing some pre-recordings. So that way you can always tune in with us on the pre-recordings as well. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll make sure we share that on our YouTube page so you can be aware of that.
On YouTube? Okay.
Yeah. So, again, my name is Joshua Bernie, a.k.a. Joshua B., your public speaking rapper with an English degree.
And I'm Octavia B., your public speaking poet with a science degree.
And it's okay to drive the highway of God's plans because faith is doing things that's never been seen before. So do something this week that's never been seen before in your life and in other... This week. The week coming up.
So next week.
Okay, the week coming up, do things that's never been seen or experienced before. Yes. And honestly, just pray and ask God, God, is this really in your will? And He'll tell you. And it's a tough decision, but trust me, your life will be better for it. So listen, have a great day. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you all for all of our sponsors and community partners of the show. We appreciate all your contributions. We love you guys. Have a great day. And we'll see you next time here at the Joshua Bernie Morning Show, Saturday afternoon edition. We appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Yeah. We ride to the beat till the wheels fall off. Riding the streets till the heat cool off. Say you all good when you get kicked up and you get picked up.